11 days. That's all it should have taken. 11 days of walking from Mount Sinai to the Promised Land. The Bible literally gives us the number, Deuteronomy 1:2, 11 days. Instead, 40 years, and an entire generation died in the sand without ever setting foot in what God had promised them. Why? The answer is going to hit you harder than you expect. These weren't just any people. These were the people God had just rescued, with 10 supernatural plagues, with a split Red Sea, with bread that literally fell from the sky every single morning. The most powerful empire on earth destroyed for them. And then God looked at those same people and said, "You will not enter. You will wander. You will die out here." What did they do? And more importantly, what does it mean for your life right now? Here's the line that changes everything. God took Israel out of Egypt in one night, but taking Egypt out of Israel, that took 40 years. And for some of them, it never happened at all. 3 days after watching God split an ocean, 3 days, the people arrived at bitter water and immediately turned on Moses. No prayer, no faith, just complaints. A month later, if only we had died in Egypt, at least there we had pots of meat. They were slaves. Slaves don't sit around pots of meat. But when the present gets uncomfortable, the human mind rewrites the past. Sound familiar? We do this too. We romanticize our prisons. We choose familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom every single time. 2 years after leaving Egypt, Israel stood at the edge of the Promised Land. They could see it. Moses sent 12 scouts in. They came back with grapes so massive that 2 grown men had to carry a single cluster on a pole between them. "The land is incredible," the scouts said. "It flows with milk and honey." But then, however, the people there are powerful, the cities are fortified, and we saw giants. Here's what nobody talks about. All 12 scouts agreed the land was good. The facts weren't in dispute. What divided them was the lens. 10 scouts said, "We looked like grasshoppers in our own eyes." Not, "God can't handle this," but, "We are too small." 400 years of slavery had shattered their identity so completely that no amount of miracles could fix it. They had seen seas split and still saw themselves as insects. And the people's response to the 2 scouts who believed God? They wanted to stone them, then elect a new leader and march back into slavery. That's when God said, "Not one of you will enter the land. Your children will wander 40 years, 1 year for every day the scouts explored." Now here's what most people get wrong. They think the desert was punishment. It wasn't. Not entirely. God couldn't deprogram 400 years of slavery from that generation, but He could raise a new generation, born in the wilderness, fed by heaven, who had never known a Pharaoh, whose identity came from God, not chains. And God was protecting Israel from itself. Former slaves charging hardened warriors? That's not conquest. That's a massacre. Sometimes the no that feels like rejection is actually protection. Sometimes the delay is the preparation. The manna wasn't just food either. Every single morning for 40 years, God was reprogramming how an entire nation thought about provision. In Egypt, bread came from Pharaoh. In the desert, it came from heaven. He was dismantling a slave economy in their minds and replacing it with grace. And through all 40 years, the cloud never left, the fire never went out, their clothes never wore out, their shoes lasted 4 decades in a harsh desert. This wasn't abandonment. This was relentless, stubborn, daily faithfulness, even when they complained about the very bread keeping them alive. Now there's one man whose story you need to hear. Caleb was one of the 2 faithful scouts. He believed God when everyone else said no. He was right, but he still had to walk through the desert for 40 years, watching the faithless generation die around him, one by one. When the conquest finally began, Caleb was 85 years old. And you know what he said? "Give me this mountain." Not a valley, not cleared land, the mountain. The specific mountain where the giants lived. The same giants that had paralyzed an entire generation 40 years earlier. I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me. 40 years of desert didn't weaken Caleb. They forged him. Same desert, same years, completely different outcome. Because the difference was never in the desert. The difference was in the heart. So here's the question this story puts in front of you. Are you in a desert right now? Waiting, praying, watching everyone else seem to move forward while you're still stuck in the sand? God has not forgotten you. Every desert has an expiration date. 40 years is the longest wilderness in the Bible, and even that one ended. The Jordan parted. The manna stopped because it was no longer needed.